manner of consumer goods that you and I and everybody else wears. You would think that these kinds of conditions, this sorts of exploitation, these kinds of struggles against exploitation, oppression, and injustice were precisely the kinds of materials, the substance that students in a space of higher education, a place of higher learning, would be encouraged to read about, would be encouraged to listen to, would be encouraged to debate, and to air in an open and free exchange in a space, in a commons, where we could understand the histories of struggle and the relevance of continuing ongoing cases of homophobia, racism, classism, misogyny, genocide, nativism, and why this is important to everyone, including European Americans, white folks today, because the quality of life for them, just like the quality of life for all of us, the quality of this democracy is at stake. This is what we are facing. Every September, the Department of Ethnic Studies faculty gets together in a retreat right before school starts, and we revisit what it is we're doing. We have spirited debate. At the end of the day, we come up with a new vision statement. So last September, we came up with the following vision statement. I'll read from it in part. The Department of Ethnic Studies at UCSD offers an innovative vision of the world and its peoples in the 21st century. Our faculty and students focus on the fundamental theoretical and political questions regarding the critical conceptualization of social categories such as race, indigeneity, culture, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, class, and nation. We are committed to rethinking these issues in a comparative, relational, and multidisciplinary fashion in order to interrogate questions of power and inequality. We provide alternative ways of knowing for the studies of the histories, the languages, the cultures of racialized and indigenous populations in the United States and globally in a way that produces new knowledges for the academy and for the broader public. The Department of Ethnic Studies is a key center for research, teaching, and creative collaborations that promote social justice, end quote. That's what we're about. Now you heard from Professor Jorge Mariscal earlier. He and I direct the California Cultures Initiative on campus. California Cultures Initiative also has a vision statement, and it reads as follows. When measured by virtually any standard, California is one of the most demographically and economically dynamic places on Earth. The state's economic strength historically has created and sustained huge demands for labor. Thus, California has long served as a major crossroads for immigrants and internal migrants drawn to its expanding economy, so that the trends occurring in the state of California are linked to and reflect transformations in other states and nations around the globe. But with this vibrant social and economic reality, the Golden State is also facing a host of challenges, including socioeconomic polarization, the erosion of the state's public education system, the continued political tensions among racial and ethnic groups over symbolic, cultural, and material resources. So what does this mean? It means that one of the greatest challenges facing California, facing all of us, in the 21st century is diversity. UCSD, we believe, is uniquely positioned to assume a leadership role in addressing the complex questions that will affect the future of California's population. So the Cal Cultures Initiative is a center for research, teaching, and collaboration among staff, students, faculty, and the public to explore the broad implications of the history and the current growth of the state's immigrant and people of color populations as California is now a majority-minority, quote-unquote, state, this focus becomes even more important. So that's the California Cultures Initiative. That's the Department of Ethnic Studies here at UCSD. These two entities that support, that embrace diversity, that support and embrace social justice. And you heard from the sister earlier about the principles of community, which state that quite emphatically and quite clearly. So I would submit to you today that all of us standing here, the Lumumba Zapata Coalition included, of course, if we are wrong, then the Department of Ethnic Studies is wrong. If we are wrong, then the California Cultures Initiative that has been sanctified on high by Marsha Chandler and the entire administration is wrong. If we are wrong, then the administration of the University of California at San Diego itself is wrong. So if we're wrong, then I don't want to be right. So in closing, and you've been very patient, I appreciate that. In closing, if we cannot have a free and fair and open exchange and airing of the concerns and ideas and issues and protests and complaints that the Lumumba Zapata Coalition has brought forth, then I would submit to you that since all of our fates are intertwined and linked, that the very health of the intellectual commons, the very health and the future of academic freedom and integrity and democracy itself are at stake. And if the Ethnic Studies Department, if these students here, if the LZC Coalition, if California Cultures, and if the administration itself can embrace fairness, equity, creativity, diversity, and democracy, then by God, the dimensions of culture at Thurgood Marshall College should too. Thank you.
All right, got it. Okay. So, the moment we've all been waiting for, we have actually a sheet with 6 demands of things we've been asking for, and also what you can do to help out if you are concerned. Okay? We presented these demands. April 13th, and since have been refused on every single point, including our dismissal. Okay, so I'll go over the demands point by point. Number 1, return to the principles of the original doc plan and curriculum. Okay? And we have generously quoted from the actual original plan and curriculum. We are using their language when we say what we want to return to, okay? We did not write this ourselves. We are being dismissed, ironically, for saying what was in the original doc plan. Okay. Demand number 2, hire more staff, faculty, and TAs whose academic training suits the doc program. This would be ethnic studies, this would be American studies, this would be critical race theory, this would be critical gender studies, okay? Number 2, or A, part A of number 2, with a particular emphasis on recruiting people of color to work at DOC. Yeah.